Hi, in this R for Excel users video, I'm going to be covering how to pull quick statistics from your dataset as a whole and also as separate columns. So without further ado, let's get onto RStudio. If you want to follow along from scratch using the dataset I'm using in here, it's in the description below. And also if you want the code, again, that is in the description below as well. So I'm going to quickly just go over what I'm going to be covering. First and foremost, I'm just going to be installing the dataset. If you need to know how to install a dataset, the video is in the description below as well. And then I'm just going to show you how to view the table structure so you can understand what each column will hold, then a statistical overview of all the table's columns, and then how to view just one column in a statistical overview. And then we'll start looking at the mean, what happens if you try and do a statistical overview of a column that has NAs in it, how to ensure the NAs don't cause an error, and then view how to do median, quantiles, and range, which is min and max. So the first thing I'm going to do is install the dataset that I'm going to be using the library read Excel. So we just highlight that and then click run. We now have our dataset set up over there. Now to actually start viewing what the data looks like in your dataset, you can overview your data just by clicking on it to then see what the data looks like. But if you want to know what the structure looks like, there's two ways. You can type in str and then put in brackets your dataset name. Then if we highlight that and run, you can start to see what the layout is. So as we can see, there's character for the location, date format for date, year is seen as number, month is seen as character, new cases, new deaths, hospital patients are all number, and then vaccinations is shown as logical. And then it gives you an overview of what like the first few lines of the data look like. And as I said, there's another way of seeing this same information. If you go up to here where your dataset is, and then there's a little arrow there, you can open it up and you get exactly the same information. So you don't have to run it down here. You can actually just view it up here as well. So now what we want to do is just understand some statistical data behind what we have in this table. And all you have to do is type in summary and then in brackets, again, just put in your dataset name. And then if we run this, we then get a breakdown of each column and some statistical knowledge. In this case, we're just seeing how many rows there are for the location because it's all characters, so you can't see a breakdown. But under dates, you can start to see what is the min date. So the first one was the 23rd of January 2020, and the last is the 30th of November 2021. And then you can see the mean, the median, the first quantile and the third quantile. The same with year. Month is character, so again we only see the number of rows. New cases, we get to see what the smallest one is, the mean, the median, the first quantile, third quantile, and also the max. And the same with new deaths, hospital patients. And then as we can see with vaccinations, we have logical, and then it's saying true or false. But as you'll notice with these three at the bottom down here, they have NAs in there, which will be important in a minute. So say you didn't want to actually look at all this information, you only wanted to look at one particular column. So in this case, we're just going to focus on new cases. So if we go into here and if we highlight, instead of just typing in summary and then putting in your dataset name, all we've done is then put in the $ after the dataset name and then added in what the column's called, which in this case is new cases. So if we then run this, we'll then get that information just on its own. And there you go. And as you can see, min, first quantile, median's 222, mean, third quantile, and max is over 300,000, which is there. So we can try this again with just focusing on one of those. So if we just wanted to say, look at the mean, we can, instead of putting summary at the beginning, we just put mean, and then we still put in brackets the dataset name, the $, and then new cases, or whichever column you would like. So if we highlight that and run it, we'll then see the result of 3,255. On that, 3,254.794, which means when it's rolled up, you get the decimal places here. That would go up to 3,255. As I mentioned, we can do the same with other columns. Let's use hospital patients. This time we're just going to look at the summary of it. So if we just highlight that, doing exactly the same as we did before, instead of writing in new cases, we put in hospital patients, and then we run that, and then we can see the data here. But as we can see, we've got this part here which says NAs, and this is where a problem can occur. So now if we try and do what we did with new cases with the mean, and now put mean, the dataset name, the $sign, and then hospital patients, we just get NA. And the reason is because the NAs will cause an issue when you're trying to do a statistical calculation on there, because an NA is not a number. So the way to get around this is there's an additional add-in that you can put onto your calculation that will remove NAs from that particular calculation. And what that is after you've done what you want your statistical calculation to be, in this case, we're using mean just here. You then put in, as normal, the dataset name, $sign, your column name, and then after there, you do a comma, and then you do NA full stop RM equals true. And what that means is the true part of it means that it's going to remove and strip out those NAs. So if it sees NAs, it removes them. So NA remove equal true. And now if we run this now, we will get the mean of the hospital patients, which we can see is here, so 4,485. So if we run that now, there we go. And again, because the decimal place is rolled up there. So now, if we then try this with the median, which is 551. So if you just type in median, and then in brackets, put in the dataset name, $sign, the column name, comma, na.rm equals true, and then close brackets. And if we run that, is exactly 55.1. So now if we then try a different calculation, this time we're going to find out what the quantile is. Now, when you want to find out what each quantile is, so you want to look at it as a percentage, because that's how they operate. So when you want to kind of find out what the first quantile is, then that will be 0 to 5. And then if you want to find what the middle is, which is the median, that would be 0.50. And if you want to find the third, then that is 0.75. But if you needed to find out of any point in that, then you just need to know, you need to put a point and then that area which you want to look at. So how to do that is if you type in quantile and then in brackets, obviously again, put in the dataset name, $sign, and then your column name, and then a comma, and then type in probs, so PROBS, and then equals, and then the C, and then in brackets, this is when then you'll put in. So if you just wanted to find out what the first quantile was, then you just put full stop 25 and that's it. But in this one, I'm going to be looking at the first, the middle, which is the median, and the third. And then you add in, because of the NAs, if you know there is NAs, you put in the comma after the close brackets of this function here, and then add in na.rm equals true again. And then if we run this, we've then got our first quantile, which you can see here, our median, which is 551, and then the third quantile, but with the decimal place. So as we can see here, it's 0.5. So where it's decided to round up in this particular statistical calculation, it's given you the decimal place here. And the same goes for if you wanted to do min and max, but a quick one where you can get both at the same time is if you use the function called range. So if you type in range, and as all the other ones, type in your dataset name, $sign, the column you want to do the calculation on, and if there's NAs, do your comma, na.rm equals true. And if we run that, we'll then see the min of 0 and the max of 133,000. And there we go. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, please like, share and subscribe. And if you have any comments, questions, videos you would like to see, leave them in the comments below. And as always, until next time.